Hi guys, welcome and who dat? I'm Joe, and tonight I'm going to be breaking down this past Monday Night Football contest between our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints, and the two-time defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. And looks like the Saints were outclassed, outmatched, outplayed, outgained, outclassed. Final score KC 26, the Saints 13. And it was probably uglier than this. There's some things about the game that I can look at positively, but I'm in an ornery mood right now, so we're gonna, stick to the facts, stick to the basics. And the facts are I haven't seen this team look this pathetic since COVID game. Yeah, yeah. Uh Offense looked inept. Defense with that bend don't break mentality. No, you broke. You broke. There were some good things, there were some awful things. Let's pull up the stats and get this out of the way. Oh, passing for the Saints, Derek Carr, 18 of 28 for 165 yards, two touchdowns, one interception. He was sacked once. Carr had to leave the game in the fourth quarter late. Apparently, it's an oblique, and we're not going to figure out more about it for another day or two at least. So Jake Hayner came in as the backup quarterback. He went 2 of 7 for 11 yards. He also scrambled a couple of times. Ended up running the ball twice for 11 yards. He had 17 yards passing. Okay. 2 of 7 for 17 yards. Two carries for 11 yards. All right. If Derek Carr is injured and he's going to miss any time, then unquestionably the quarterback we should be practicing all week and starting is Spencer Rattler. I always thought Jake Hayner was the perfect number two as long as you were going to be on the sideline, prepared to go in at a moment's notice, but basically the clipboard holder. I think that Hayner probably has more going upstairs, his familiarity with the facility and all that stuff. Besides that, Hayner looks like he would be a good career backup. But in this situation with the Saints offensive line, you're going to need somebody who can make something happen. We saw Hayner scramble a couple of times. Yeah, I think Rattler gives you that magic to move around when things break down. And right now, things are beyond breaking down, they're broken. Running the ball, Alvin Kamara, 11 carries, 26 yards. That's 2.4 yards a carry. What in the world? Hayner had his two scrambles. Jamal Williams had two carries. One of them was for 9 yards, one of them was for 0 yards, and that was it. Not only were we not running the ball, we weren't running the ball effectively, but we weren't even trying to run the ball. And once again, we weren't using play action pass. Yeah, I know. When the run doesn't work, play action doesn't work. Well, you have to do something. We didn't use play action in this game. I think maybe 4 times, something stupid like that. Yeah, and we looked awful. So you're going to tell me if we would have used it, we'd have looked even worse? Okay, I'll take that challenge because this offense is based on running the ball effectively and utilizing play action pass, moving the pocket. I didn't see a lot of that going on. We're outmatched up front right now. You've got a rookie at left tackle. You've got a right tackle that might not, shouldn't even be starting. And then you've got an entire middle full of, I don't know what to do. How in the world did this team come to the conclusion that Lucas Patrick was going to be our starting center after we started the game? Patrick gets hurt. Now, he was hurt all week, so he didn't really get that much of a chance to practice. Connor McGovern gets signed from the Jets practice squad, and I believe he did take snaps at center because Patrick was recovering from an injury. And I always thought, well, if Patrick's healthy and good to go, you should just keep him at left guard. We start the game with Saldiveri at left guard, Patrick at center. With, no practice time there for the week leading up. I mean, I'm sure he's paying attention in meetings and stuff while recuperating from an injury. Landon Young at right guard. Landon Young at right guard's been okay so far. I have no complaints about Landon Young at right guard. Everybody in the middle's getting outplayed, outmatched, but Landon Young's putting in some effort. So something happens in the course of the game. Patrick has to get out. We put in McGovern, and then Patrick's healthy enough to come back, and he doesn't. We put him at left. What? No, we put him at left guard at that point, like where he should have been to begin with. And I think Dennis Allen's explanation was we needed more production from the left guard. Yeah, that's the reason why you should have kept Patrick there to begin with. I always thought you should have a backup center and leave Patrick where he is. Leave Cesar Ruiz at right guard. Don't move him to center. Don't move Patrick to center. Keep him at guard and just have some backup centers. If that position is so important, then maybe you should focus on it a little more in practice. Okay, that's all I got to say. Maybe I'm thinking about it totally different than any coach in the league, but that's the way I look at it. You start taking pieces and moving them around, and they haven't practiced there all week. And what do you expect? What do you expect? I thought that was asinine. This complete malpractice on the coaching staff. You should have started the game with, personally, Kyle Hergel at center, since he's been here since the draft, right after the draft. But if McGovern's good enough to go in there and play, and he was okay, he was a veteran presence out there, probably gave you as much as Shane Lemieux would have given you. So that should have been your plan all along. I'm done with it. Can we just keep Patrick at left guard, please? Please. Nothing was going to work anyway. We were outclassed up front. Receiving the ball, Rashid had 4 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. Finally makes a big play. He is a big play waiting to happen. But we've tried with Rashid in the last couple of games, and the connection hasn't been there. A lot of the balls, it's as if Rashid has to have a clean separation where he can go under the ball, make it happen. No contested catch scenario. But if the coverage is close and that ball's coming here and the cornerback has a chance to get it, Rashid ain't doing nothing. I mean, he's not coming back for the ball. He's not fighting for the catch. He's not forcing PI. He's giving up on routes. It looked like he stopped running at one point. My issue is, 86 yards and a touchdown, better than anything else anybody gave us in the passing game. But he was targeted 9 times. That's 5 incompletions going to this guy. Yeah, he had more balls incomplete going his way than complete, and that's not good. Alvin Kamara, 6 catches, 40 yards. He was targeted 8 times. The 2 he didn't catch were they were grounded because the pressure got in Carr's face. Juwan Johnson was targeted 5 times. He had 5 catches for 31 yards. I don't know why Juwan Johnson keeps running these short routes. I mean, you guys don't think he's good enough as a tight end to get deep in a route? He's a wide receiver, for F's sake. So, but you target him 5 times, he has 5 catches. Gotta say, he's one of the players of the game, even though he hasn't been utilized all that much. At least this was working. Foster Moreau, 2 catches, 13 yards. He was targeted twice. Once again, the tight end in this game were successful. Foster Moreau had a touchdown. So there you go. There's 7 targets to the tight end, 7 catches, and a touchdown. Seemed like that should have been something you did all day long if you'd have had plays to do it. But you couldn't stay on the field. Chris Olave was targeted 4 times. He only caught 2 for 10 yards. Everyone's up in arms about the lack of use of Chris Olave. I'm assuming he's getting double covered. I'm assuming there's a lot of holding going on. I'm assuming he's getting out physical at the line of scrimmage and getting thrown off his routes. Because when he does get to run a route, he can get separation. If you're not targeting Olave because he's double covered or bracketed or whatever, that's understandable. You have to go somewhere else. But everybody and their grandma thinks Carr just isn't targeting the guy because he does get open so often and makes all of the catches, even the contested ones. So it's a frustrating point for Saints fans. I'll chalk it up as you have to go somewhere else sometimes, and somebody else has to make plays. And Shaheed getting targeted 9 times and making 4 plays, it tells you right there that he's not a number 2. He's a gadget, and he can be successful in an offense when used sparingly. Mason Tipton, here's a guy that's supposed to be something. 4 targets, 1 catch, 2 yards. He had one go right through his hands. It would have been an unbelievable catch. It would have been a pro football catch. It'd have been a highlight reel catch. It'd have had this team a hell of a lot closer to winning this game. But yeah, Tipton's an undrafted guy, just like Rashid Shaheed. We got a bunch of guys running around out here that are 5'9", 180 pounds. And yeah, we're not making anything happen. So offensively for this game, the wide receivers, yeah, non-existent. This is your biggest example of why you should go and get Devontae Adams. I don't want to pay nobody $36 million a year. Uh, I want to work something out. Probably isn't going to happen. But if this is all we're getting, if we're waiving A.T. Perry, because I saw A.T. Perry make catches down the sideline like that in preseason. I saw him do some big plays last year. If we're waiving him and we're throwing the ball 4 times to Tipton for 1 catch, 9 times to Rashid for 4 catches, yeah, we need help at wide receiver big time. All right, I'm going to talk about all the other nuances of the game, but I'm going to go through some defensive stats here first. Demario Davis led the team with 11 total tackles. Anthony Orji had 10 total tackles, and he was getting picked on. Jonathan Abram, he was a stud. When Will Harris got hurt, Jonathan Abram had to go in. You know, they're not relying on Jordan Howden. There's a disconnect somehow over the last. You're talking about a sophomore slump, usually happens with players. Jordan Howden's having a slump. He's got that 1 interception, and then after that, he's watching a guy come off the practice squad in Jonathan Abram, who actually, showed up. At least he was around the ball and making things happen. 8 total tackles. So I give a star to Jonathan Abram on a nice game coming off the practice squad. Colin Saunders, 7 total tackles. He had a pass defense. He had the beautiful one-handed interception in the end zone and that gorgeous 37-yard run with the ball tucked high and tight, looking faster than I ever thought I'd ever see a big man like that run. Yeah, he was motivated, and he needed the oxygen after. I will give a star to Colin Saunders for his big play theatrics. The truth of the matter is, we were horrible against the run in this game. Saunders got a lot of playing time in this game, and we're going to keep all that in check. Carl Granderson had 7 total tackles as well, along with Saunders on the defensive line. So there's your active players in the game on the defensive line. Not much more activity after that, though. The defensive line has been utter disgrace this year. Tyrann Mathieu, 6 total tackles. He really wanted to make a big play happen in front of those former fans of his. And, yeah, Just didn't happen. It's probably close, but no cigar. Marshawn Lattimore, 5 total tackles. Lattimore looked great. He shut everybody down that he was covering, and that tackle he made when it was 3rd and 22, and the Chiefs almost got the first down. They ended up getting it on 4th down anyway. But Lattimore tackles the running back right at the yard to get, and that was a great tackle by Lattimore. Alontae Taylor, I'm giving him a star. He probably gave up a lot in coverage. He's still learning the position. There's Travis Kelce to worry about as well. But Taylor does finish with 5 total tackles, including 2 tackles for a loss. I believe Taylor was the guy that forced the fumble that KC ended up recovering. Paulson Adebo had 4 total tackles. He had 1 pass defensed, which should have been a PI. Everybody saw it. And then he was actually flagged for a PI, which set KC up pretty good. Brian Bresee, I'll give him a star for getting a sack, 4 total tackles, including a nice 1 tackle against the run. Okay. Baby steps. DeMarco Jackson had 4 total tackles. Isaiah Foskey had 4 total tackles. Chase Young had 3 total tackles and a sack. That play was the best play he's done all year, the sack. And then after that, non existent like the rest of the defensive line, including Nathan Shepard, who looked lost, in my opinion, several times. Shepard finished with 3 total tackles. So that's some defensive stats for you. Overall, yeah, not good enough by the defense. Let's talk about red zone. Okay. Our offense gets in the red zone 1 time and we score a touchdown. We continue to be very good as an offensive red zone team, but you got to get in the red zone, and we only got there once. The Chiefs got there 7 times. Now we held them to 2 of 7, and that's going to help with this defensive red zone number. Defensively, our red zone defense really good, really good. 2 of 7 is pretty good, but that 7 blows me away. It's like the Dallas game, when they got in the red zone 5 times or whatever. It's like, is the defense really playing that well if the opposing team's marching down the field? 39 pass attempts by the Chiefs, 39 rush attempts by the Chiefs. I mean, talk about balanced. Pick your poison. The Chiefs end up finishing the game with 139 yards rushing. That's 3.6 yards a carry. For a while there, they were getting 5, 6 yards a pop. And when you make Kareem Hunt look young again, guy that should not even be in football anyway, that's embarrassing. I think he finished with over 100 yards rushing, like 27 carries. The Chiefs just decided at one point when they were ahead, I think 16-7, they were just going to run the ball. And that's what I would have done. And it worked. Passing, they had 321 passing yards total. So overall, they had 460 yards of total offense. 460 total yards. This defense is capable of holding a team to under 300. Like I said before, 350 is the most this team should be giving up. 460 yards of total offense given up. That's too much for this defense. Our offense got 220, so the Chiefs more than doubled us up on total yards. Total plays, they had 80, we had 51. You're never going to win a game with 51 plays. You should have 60. And that should be a light game. 60 plays. They double us up in first downs. They get 28. 28, man. If you can get 20 first downs, you're having a great day. They got 28. We got 14. Doubled us up on first downs. Third down, we were 4 of 10. Not going to cut it. The Chiefs were 6 of 14. Yeah. It's not horrible, but for us, but it wasn't good enough on this day. We were giving up too many chunk plays. We were 0 for 2 on 4th down. They were 1 of 1. And in the red zone, I'll bring that up again. 2 of 7 in the red zone. our defense holds them out of the end zone 5 times on those 7 red zone trips. That's great. But you allowed 2 score, you allowed 2 touchdowns, you lost by 13 points. So, yeah, if you're going to be a great red zone defense, you might need to pitch a shutout. So, overall, it was awful. Blake Grupe misses another extra point. This isn't supposed to happen in football. I'm sure if it was Charlie Smith, we'd understand. It would probably make him feel inadequate. Time of possession, the Chiefs had it for 40 minutes. We had it for 20 minutes. Embarrassing. And let's talk about the penalties. The Chiefs end up getting flagged 6 times for 55 yards. We got flagged 5 times for 70 yards. And yeah, there were a couple of plays that the Chiefs got away with some stuff. We got away with a few things too. Might be a reflection on the just the referee crew in general, but there was some holding. Number 65 for the Chiefs held just about every play in that game that I watched him. He got flagged for it once. It was the least egregious holding he had done. I'd been watching him. He had held like 4 times in a row, and that was the one they finally flagged. And it almost wasn't holding that one. The other ones were wrestling moves and obvious. So overall, it feels like we were outmatched. Felt like we were playing out of our league. It you know, felt like uh, Lafayette going up against LSU or something like that. You know, it was bad. Offensively, I don't know how we're going to get anything done with this patchwork offensive line. As far as the offensive scheme goes, it's not working. If the running game doesn't work, you have to be able to do something. You're not even trying to run the ball. You're not even trying to fake the team with the play action. I don't remember anything happening special like, sweeps or wide receivers coming across the formation. Everything just looked bad. It just didn't look good. And when Carr got hurt and Hayner went in, it was ugly. We really do need to practice Spencer Rattler because he's a little more mobile than Hayner. Hayner's way more mobile than Carr, but I think Rattler gives you your best chance to win if Carr's going to miss time. I think that's the route we should go. I'm not worried about ruining the guy's psyche. If he's going to be a starting quarterback in this league, then yeah, he needs to beat out Jake Hayner. So I don't know what the coaches think. I don't know if they're thinking this way. I look at Hayner as the perfect clipboard holder as long as Carr's your quarterback. But once you need a starter for a whole game, I think Rattler's the way to go. We need to get the other running backs involved. I don't care if Jamal Williams doesn't look that good. He can still break a 9-yard run. He should get a few carries. Um, there were only 15 carries to be had in this game. We ran the ball 15 times for 45 yards, 46 yards, 3.1 yards a carry. Jeez, awful, awful. And yeah, our defensive line, they look uninspired. And Pete Werner missed the game, so Orji, had a lot to do out there, a lot to prove, and he's still kind of young and learning. And in the secondary, if Paulson Adebo is lined up against a fast wide receiver, he's gonna grab, he's gonna PI, and maybe we should consider that when debating on whether we trade Lattimore or re-sign Adebo. Yeah, I have a feeling that we might end up having to just let Adebo go in free agency next year, and we're gonna have to draft another cornerback, and we're gonna have to pay Lattimore unless you want to tear the whole thing down, which I'm not against at this point. You start 2-0, you look like world beaters, but now in the last 3 games, 3 losses, we've scored a total of 49 points. Am I right? And we scored 48 in the first game of the season. In the last three games, we've scored 49. Yeah, this is closer to what this team really is. A head coach that's going to get outcoached, a quarterback that's going to be competent as long as everything works around him. You have a broken offensive line and lack of depth all over the place, and yeah, it's going to be ugly. You got Dallin Holker running the wrong way on a play, running into the Kamara as he's trying to run the ball, running right into him. You've got wide receivers that aren't getting open, wide receivers that can't make contested catches. You got tight ends that are MIA, and when they're finally producing, we're not getting the ball to them anyway. Not enough. It's the only thing that was working. So yeah, I'm disappointed. Next week we got Tampa Bay. It's a divisional game. It's a conference game. When it's all said and done, this loss against an AFC opponent isn't going to matter as much as a loss last week against Atlanta, or if we lose in this coming weekend's game against the Bucks. But if we can beat the Bucks and we finish this first six games 3-3, we're right where I thought the Saints would be. I was hoping we could get out of the first six games 3-3. But then I thought we would beat the brakes off of Denver, then get a long week and a half off, and then go to the West Coast and beat the Chargers. That's what I expected. I don't know if this team's good enough to beat Denver or the Chargers. Certainly not good enough to beat the Bucks. But the Bucks didn't look that good this past week, and the Saints still have a lot of season left to turn it around. But you lose three games in a row, you are exactly who we thought you were for the last 2 years. You managed two wins in a row, and I'm supposed to get excited, and I was. But then you drop three in a row. This is how it's been. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose two. Win two, lose three. Yeah, it's always two steps back. So it's frustrating. I'm going to be frustrated when I do these videos. I want you guys to subscribe to the channel because I can be in a good mood when the Saints give us something to cheer about. And right now it's desperation time. I'm not sure how we fix it. We have a lack of talent on this team and some questionable coaching. Maybe we wipe the whole thing clean if this keeps up. But we're going to have to see. If we can find a way to outcoach the Buccaneers squad and beat them next week, and we're 3-3, then we're at a really good place if we can compete. The rest of the schedule isn't as tough. You've got some teams on the schedule that looked weak at first, Washington, but now look good. But then you have other teams on the schedule, Cleveland, who we thought they might be good, and now they look beatable. So you never know. Next week's very important, guys. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10. I'm your friend or your coworker who loves the Saints. You're part of the Who Dat family. Leave your comments down low. Let me know what you think. I will be doing a preview of the Bucks game later on this week. And until the next one. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be looking into the draft too. I did that all off season this past year. That was fun for me. When you're a football fan, you go through the grind of the season. When it's all over, 9 out of 10, you're disappointed in the season. If you didn't win the Super Bowl, you didn't get the ultimate. But if we could have a winning record and make the playoffs, that's a good thing. I look at the regular season as is it good or bad? It's good if you make the playoffs. And so then, through this trials and tribulations and the grind, it's all worth it if you have a winning record and you get into the playoffs. Then the postseason's a whole other thing. And a lot of times, 9 out of 10, you're going to be disappointed in the outcome of the postseason. You get in the postseason, you want to win the Super Bowl. Saints have only done that once. So there's a lot of time as a football fan to dream and to feel good about everything. And a lot of times, sadly, it's during the off season. I embrace the off season. I embrace the draft. I'll probably be doing a way too early mock draft for the Saints, probably sooner than later if the season keeps going this way. But I will cover the team. Subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think. And then I For the next one, I hope I can feel better. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?